Guys, you need to understand something. At the end of the day, these teachers and these people that are telling you you need to be alone and you need to be in secret, and you need to go do this on your own, they're not going to be there forever. Your parents are there forever.
Our school system, our government sucks. It sucks. And it's not a reflection on this board, it's a reflection on California. They need less control. Parents need more control.
Do you know what qualifies me as a parent to make the decisions for my kids? Love I have for my kids.
Good evening, board. Thank you for bringing this resolution up and for supporting AB 1314. I am the author of the bill. And I want to explain why I introduced the bill and what the bill actually does, because by the sound of it, it sounds like a lot of people haven't actually read the bill. So the reason I introduced the bill is because I saw a trend up and down the state of California in which schools were implementing policies that excluded parents in the affairs of their kids. Specifically, schools implemented policies saying that children had a right to privacy from their own parents. This is nonsense. There is no such legal doctrines. Kids do not have privacy from parents. Kids don't have capacity to make decisions as minors, and their parents are critical components to their best interest. So when we found out that there were school districts actively transitioning kids without their parents' knowledge or consent, this is an issue. And it's an issue which I felt was appropriate to take action on. And that's why I introduced AB 1314, which is really simple. It doesn't out anybody. What it says is that the school is going to actively participate in the social transitioning of the minor. The parent has to be notified. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change how they identify. It doesn't change any other decisions that the child makes at school. All it says is that you have to bring the parents into the loop and they have to know what's happening. This has been public policy in California since the beginning. Parents have been seen as partners in education, not spectators. And really what the core of this issue is who has the best interest of kids in mind? Is it their parents or the government? And I submit to you that nobody has the better interest for their kids, their well-being, their safety than their own parents. And kids are the domain of their family, their parents, not the government. What this fight is about and what you're seeing such vitriol is people want to own our kids. Nobody owns our kids. Kids belong to their parents. And that should be reaffirmed. That is the law. And even if this bill does not pass, I encourage this district and every district up and down this state to enact this policy, which you can do. Thank you for your time, and thank you for supporting the bill.
Thank you.
You know, I've spoken at a lot of board meetings, and I've never had an issue, but today, it's twisted at my heart pretty good. Because I think one thing that we need to stand on very solidly is the truth. And I think a lot of these kids that are here, it breaks my heart that they're arguing to take parents out. You guys are right. The school is supposed to be a safe place. But it was never supposed to be a secret place. I've raised kids. My kids are now 20 and 18. They're not adults yet, but they're very close. But there's several things that my kids have done through the years that I didn't agree with. But that doesn't mean that you just go do it on your own and don't ask your parents. Guys, you need to understand something. At the end of the day, these teachers and these people that are telling you you need to be alone and you need to be in secret, and you need to go do this on your own, they're not going to be there forever. Your parents are there forever. There's nothing my kids can do that would make me walk away from them. Nothing. And this bill doesn't say that you can't be trans. It doesn't say that you can't be gay. It doesn't say that you can't have a problem with all that. But you know, you guys are instilling fear in these kids that are the highest suicide rate that we've ever seen in our country. And now you're arguing that you don't want them seen. And the sad thing is, this man right here has put forth a bill and he can't even get a date to get it heard in committee because our government doesn't want to argue for you guys either. That's the saddest thing in this whole deal. That's the saddest thing of this whole deal. You have a government that has been sitting there for the past years, alienating the family and tearing them apart, and now they've convinced you guys, you kids, that they're actually attacking to fight on their side. Bill, thank you very much for bringing this bill forward. I don't know what's going to happen after today. I don't know what's going to happen in the assembly. But you know what? If we had 100 guys like you, we'd take back this country. And we would save every single one of our kids. We'd save every single one of our kids that are being affected. And I commend you. Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you, board.
Thank you. Good evening. It's kind of ironic that the crowd behind us that's holding up these signs probably right now that says "Stop the Hate" are the ones booing with anyone that opposes their opinion. It's also ironic as they talk about these trans kids being the most vulnerable and that suicide rates are going to shoot up and all of these things are going to happen. They already are. Suicide is through the roof. Bullying is through the roof. And you know what? It's not ironic that it's higher in places where parents are less involved. That's not a coincidence. You know what's ironic, though, is when Esther Kim sat in that seat up there, the one that probably rallied half the people here, I talked to her last year at a phone call. I said, you know, Esther, you know, you rally all these people up on this. Where's your voice for the special needs? The true vulnerable that make up a far more majority than these kids. The ones that truly get bullied. Where were the ones at Don Lugo where there's transgender kids there? And they stood silent as an autistic kid was bullied so bad he needed surgery and jumped. Everyone stood silent as they recorded. This is a heart issue and parents need to get involved. Our school system, our government sucks. It sucks. And it's not a reflection on this board, it's a reflection on California. They need less control. Parents need more control. And I'm sorry that this transgender community is being pawns in this agenda. It has nothing to do with them. It has to do with getting control of our kids, to influence us negatively, to infiltrate our families. And the fact that they can't sit here quietly and respectfully to listen to opposing views speaks volumes on their character. We have major mental health issues in our community. We have so many flaws we need to work on. And that starts at home. That means parents need to be involved. Now, if the parent is at risk of beating a child or murdering their kid because they're gay, they shouldn't have that kid. And you know what? Frankly, that is when a school counselor does get involved. That is what they should be there for. This shouldn't be secrets among parents. I should be able to go into a school and have access to my kids' records. We are a team. If I'm on the hook for having to go for anything legal, then I should be on the hook for everything, and I should know the good and the bad. That's what parenting is. They're talking about how students are up here and how, ironically, none of us parents have trans kids. Well, ironically, none of these students are parents. So they can't speak for us. And I can tell you right now, when I birthed my kids, I will do anything for them. And I will accept them and love them no matter if I disagree. And most other parents would probably agree. It's about love and empathy and communication, not secrets and hiding and having government in our families' homes. So this has to stop. And the agenda between the LGBT, this has nothing to do with them. It has to do with corruption and the crime rates and the violence and the suicide says that. Thank you.
Good evening. I just came from work and I work at a surgery center. I had 2 teenagers today. The patients, because they were teenagers, had to have their parents there, stay there the whole time. They had to sign the consent forms. They had to stay for the discharge instructions. They had to agree that they understood what was going on. They talked to the doctor. The parents had to be there. I had to give permission for my daughter to watch a PG-13 movie. I have to give permission or have to go pick up my child when they're at school and they have a headache. They can't use a cough drop. They can't use a Tylenol without parent permission. My daughter just had senior ditch day the other day, didn't show up for school. Guess who called me wanting to know why she wasn't at school? My son. He missed school yesterday because he went to the beach with his cousins who are on spring break from out of town. 15 years old, but school wants to know why he's not there. It's just interesting to me that let's see, my daughter sprained her ankle so bad that she had to use a scooter to get around. I had to have a doctor's note for her to use that scooter. Are you kidding me? But yet when my child may be confused or may not know, he's unsure, she's unsure what gender they are, all of a sudden, secrets to the parents. Doesn't make sense. Do you know what qualifies me as a parent to make the decisions for my kids? Love I have for my kids. No one in this room loves my kids like I do. That qualifies me to make all decisions for my kids until they are 18 years and older, and they are gone. The state doesn't get to choose when I'm a parent and when I'm not. One day they can say, oh, today your child's 12, you can make a decision for them. But on this issue, oh, no, sorry, even if they're 15, 16, you can't decide. That's wrong. The state doesn't get to do that. I have God-given rights as the parent. I am the one that birthed my kids, and I will raise them as I am meant to be and have been blessed by God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.